Hello, and welcome to another webinar of Envo. In this webinar, we are going to talk about the product code transfer and the steps you should follow in order to have a successful transfer. The content of this webinar has been split in 4 steps. What is product code ownership transfer? When do you need one? How do you request one? And what happens after that? Let's start with part 1. What is product code ownership transfer? For those that are new, or for those that need a reminder, once product code has been uploaded to the EU Hub, then the specific product code has been linked with the OPP that provoked the upload. If an organization needs to upload data for a product code recently uploaded by another organization, the ownership of this product code must be switched to the EU Hub. As part 2, when do you need the product code transfer? As you can see, we have first scenario, which is derivation and acquisitions. Whenever an OPP has acquired the authorization from another company to continue using the same GTINs, or in scenario number 2, which is the incorrect data upload, which takes place when another company has uploaded data for a product code in the EU Hub by mistake. What about the STN errors? Another everyday issue is with the product code transfer is the STN. Some of you might not be aware of this, so let me elaborate it for you. The STN arises when the product code does not belong to you. This can happen because the OPP acquired the product code from another company without requesting an ownership change. Next, we have how do you request a product code ownership change? And once again, as you can see, we have 2 scenarios. We have scenario number 1, which is once again diversity and acquisitions. First, the OPP should go to our website, find and read really good at this point the diversity and acquisition guide. After that, OPP should submit a ticket to the ENVO help desk, including the consent forms from both parties, meaning from both acquirer and the transferor, the correct CSV file. We'll discuss later how you should fill in the CSV file in the correct way, so there is no issues with your transfer. And finally, the invoicing information. Once ENVO has received the required documentation, the transfer will be initiated. In scenario number 2, we have the same idea. Submit a new ticket to the ENVO help desk with having the information about the incorrect uploaded product code with the affected codes and the affected environment. ENVO will investigate and check and ask both parties to fill in the consent forms. In that case, the correct OPP should provide us and write the CSV file. And once ENVO has all the information, the transfer will be initiated. What happens about the alerts, though? This is another situation that many of you might not be aware or might have questions about. So let me clear those questions for you. In scenario number 1, each alert triggered on or after the defined escalation date should be routed to the acquirer, and for those prior the escalation date should be routed to the transferor. In scenario 2, each alert should be routed to A, to the acquirer for those batches that the acquirer has uploaded the PPT for, and B, to the transferor for those batches where the transferor has uploaded the PPT for. Regarding scenario number 2, and for the A2 alerts triggered on or after the transfer date should be routed to the acquirer, and for the A68 alerts triggered should be routed to the batch it belongs to. In this slide, you will see what happens to the alerts after or prior the transfer date, depending on its scenarios. In scenario number 1, if for the escalation date, a date is chosen that lies after transfer date, and the acquirer has already uploaded the PPD, then the transferor will continue to receive the alerts for the acquirer batches until the defined escalation is reached. In scenario number 2, on the other hand, for all batches uploaded prior to the transfer date, The transfer continues to receive the alerts. Furthermore, for batches that the transfer has uploaded PPD4 after transfer date, the transfer will receive the alerts as well.
In this part, I'm going to show you where you can find the sample for the DNA, how to fill in, and what you should be aware of so your transactions will be completed successfully. First of all, the easiest way is for you to go to the EMBO website, there to the nodes database, document overview, onboarding partner, OBB guideline for diversity and acquisitions, and open it. Now, if you go to the contents, what is the most important? It's the fill in the CSV template. However, I would suggest the Spoke and the Spoke assistant of each OBP to have a quick look throughout the whole document so they are aware of the whole DNA situation. With that being said, if we press on the contents, fill in the CSV template, it will guide us to the instructions that we should follow. Prior to that, an easy suggestion is to have the list on the CSV format downloaded, which is by clicking here. Once you have it, then you can follow the instructions as written below and put in your product code name, organization IDs, both for transfer and acquirer, the correct date format, which is year, month, and date, the scenario that you want, scenario 1 or 2, and finally the escalation date. Please be careful that in case you choose scenario number 2, there is no need to put the escalation date. If you put it, the transaction and the transfer will not be processed. With that being said, let's have a quick sample. And I have already downloaded the file. I have here, and here you can see the format and how it's going to look if you open it in Excel. However, our suggestion is to use the Excel, no problem at all, but always open the file on your notepad, because as you can see, the transfer date here, it's different compared to what is suggested in our guide. However, if the same file is going to be open in the notepad, like here, you can see that the format is the correct one. With that being said, let's start. First of all, we have the product codes, the product schema, GTIN, the organization ID, which is the one that is going to transfer the product codes to the new organization, the transfer date, scenario 1 or 2, the escalation date. As you can see the list here, we have some errors already. Let's start with the easiest one, scenario number 2 and escalation date. It's a big no. The transfer will not take place. If you see right below, we have scenario number 2 with no escalation date. Is this going to take place? Yes or no? The answer is no. And for neither of all these GTINs, the transfer is not going to take place. And the reason behind that is, and the most important one that is also the most neglected one, it's because on the product codes does not follow up with the number 0 in front. It should be 0, 1, 2, 4, 4, 6, 7, and etc. And that's one of the main reasons the transfer will not take place. This is how the format is in the Excel file. The same exactly file, if it's open in a notepad, it's like this. Once again, product codes, product schema, organization ID, new organization ID, transfer date, scenario, and escalation date. The variables should be separated by comma. As you can see here, no spaces, nothing, just one comma. So once again, we'll go with product code, GTIN, organization, and etc. As you can see here, once again, this transfer will not take place. And why? Because the 0 is missing in front of the product code. The same goes for this situation, same, and same. So my question is, what about this scenario? Will this transfer take place? No, the answer is no. Even though they have the 0 in front, the scenario is scenario number 2, which does not need an escalation date. Thus, the transfer will not take place. However, as you can see in the scenario below, we have everything. We have the 0 in front of the product code, the GTIN, the organization ID, your organization ID, the date, and the scenario. So out of all the whole list, only this one is completed successfully. With that being said, always you can, as I said, you can always use the Excel format because I can understand it's easier, but always try and open it in a notepad to see if the format is the correct one. If something like this, let's do a quick copy paste. If the format is like this, then the transfer, once again, it will not take place. And it's a quick guide on how to fill in your DNA transfer sample.
Final step, what happens after a product code ownership transfer?
First and foremost, the relevant MBOs are informed about the transfer. Then they will invoice the relevant partners, meaning the acquire and the transfer OBPs. Then the new owner of those product codes must create a new version of the PMD data for those product codes. And then also make sure that the MAH name field in the PMD reflects the correct MAH. This field is not automatically edited after the transfer, thus why the OBPs, the new OBP, should be the one that check this field. Last, the Elevo help desk remains at your disposal in case you have any questions, uncertainties, or something in the whole process of the transfer is not working for you.
Recap. First, make sure to correctly assess whenever a product code transfer required in your situation. You read really well, once again, the Diversity and Acquisitions Guide. Proactively provide the requested documentation that have been talked throughout the webinar, like the consent forms and the CSV file. Ensure that the information you provided on the previous step are correct, and keep communication related to one case in a single ticket. Don't try to raise multiple tickets for the same situation. It's going to be harder for us to keep track of your transfer and for you to get easier fraud saving. With that being said, we reach the end of our presentation. Thank you.